Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for watching my videos. If you are enjoying them, then the best is yet to come. If you can help me get to 10,000 subscribers before the 27th of Ramadan, then I promise to share an absolutely incredible story that I guarantee you have not heard before. Today's story is set in Afghanistan during the 80s, in the war against when the Soviet Union, when they invaded Afghanistan, and the Afghans, they fought back. There was a man by the name of Khattab. Now, well, Ibn al-Khattab, actually, that was his kunya. His real name was Samir as-Suwailim, and he was from the eastern province of Saudi Arabia. He was one of the greatest military commanders that the Muslims have produced in the last few decades, who was he wasn't part of an army as such. So Khattab, he went as a teenager, he went to fight the Russians in Afghanistan, and then when that war finished, he then went to Tajikistan to fight the Russians there. And then when the war in Chechnya began in southern Russia in the 1990s and 1994, he then traveled to Chechnya to fight the Russians in Chechnya. I visited Chechnya towards the end of the war, and I met Khattab, and I knew him personally. So this is a story that happened when Khattab was in Afghanistan, and he was traveling with a group of brothers. They were traveling in a car, and the car got a puncture. So they stopped the car on the side of the road, and they began to fix the puncture. Just then Khattab, he said, you know what, guys, don't fix this puncture over here, go and fix it over there. And he pointed to some distance away, and the guys were like, what difference does it make? Here and there's the same. He said, I don't know, just move the car from here, go over there and fix it over there. So he said, okay, he's the boss, he's the commander, we will listen to him. So they moved the car short distance away, and they began to fix the puncture again. As they were doing that, an artillery shell came and landed in the exact spot where the car was just moments earlier. How did that happen? What was that? That was his firasa. Firasa means intuition. Call it intuition, sixth sense, gut, that sort of feeling you have inside of you, which you don't know where it came from, but it's something is telling you to be careful of something. It's like an internal warning light. And it's called firasa in Islam, intuition or insight. The Prophet ﷺ said that fear the intuition of a believer, for indeed he sees with the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that is where, when you have a heart that is pure and that is close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and your sin balance is low, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He gives you this insight where you can predict things that are happening that will either help you make the right decisions, or they will protect you from any harm coming to you and your family. Through this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He shows you dreams. And when I was in prison, I used to see many dreams about predicting the future, about what's going to happen, about my future, about the future of others. Some of them I shared in my series last year when the Quran came to life. There's one particular video, the dream of the 2 gang members. I'll share the link to that below. You can have a look at that. But people that are close to Allah because they're going through a trial, or they have an illness or cancer, or they've suffered some great loss, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala communicates with them through dreams in order to give them hope. So these vibes that we get, this inner feeling, this gut feeling, this sixth sense, this comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is a feeling that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts into each of us in order to protect us. Always listen to those vibes. Listen to your gut. Every time you've gone against your gut, I bet you've regretted it. You will always regret going against your gut. Pay attention to yourself. A lot of people, they listen to others before they listen to their own gut, before they listen to themselves. Start to tune into yourselves. What are you feeling? What is your body telling you? What is that thing inside? What is it telling you to do? To do this or not to do it? The Prophet ﷺ, there's a hadith that once a companion came to him and he said that, tell me about righteousness. And he said, and again I'm paraphrasing, righteousness is something which settles calmly in your heart. He said, but sin is that thing which troubles you. It troubles your soul and it creates tension in your chest. Even though other people have approved it and they've said to you, yeah, it's okay. You know, it's halal or it's permissible, it's okay for you to do that. But inside you're getting this feeling that's telling you, stay away from that thing. That thing is not right. Even though other people are telling you it's okay. Listen to that. Consult your heart. Trust yourself. Listen to yourself before you listen to others. And I don't mean in issues of halal and haram. Yeah, my gut tells me, that it's, my sixth sense tells me that I should start having cocaine because it's going to be beneficial to me. No, of course not. Ridiculous. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about matters of halal and haram, which are fixed by Allah. I'm talking about decisions, about taking decisions, about things to protect yourself or courses of action to take, or whether or not to trust a certain person. Trust your gut. Trust your gut, that inner feeling, because that is something that comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In this case, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He protected Khattab and He protected those brothers just by that feeling, that he's had this impending sense that something bad is going to happen. We better move our car, because it wasn't written for them to die at that time. And by the way, for all the big muscle bros, Khattab was a commander of thousands of mujahideen in Chechnya. He was only 5'6", average, like his body was average. He had really small. Once I had to send him some boots, and I found out his boot size, his shoe size was only 6. Tiny, like he had really small feet. He was a small guy. It's important to build your muscles and to have a strong body, but that's not what makes you strong. That's not what makes you courageous and brave. You should do that, but don't think that lifting weights is what's going to give you courage. And the only thing that gives you courage is your fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, your consciousness and your iman in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, your reliance upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is what increases your level of courage and masculinity or manliness, or whatever you want to call it. So that was today's story. If you enjoyed it, please press the like button, subscribe to my channel, turn on the notifications, share this content. Help me get to 10,000 subscribers before the 27th of Ramadan, and I promise to share an amazing story. And leave a comment, even if it's to say Alhamdulillah, because that trips the YouTube algorithm and YouTube then shows this video to more people. Until the next episode, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.